Yo, Kpaceguy here, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk to you about how to find peaks and nulls in your room. I'm going to at least tell you how I do it in mine, and maybe it translate over to yours. But before we get started with this video, I do want to say that Subscriber Showcase is coming up sometime next month and probably mid-December. If you're not so sure what Subscriber Showcase is, it's where my subscribers take their home theater and their car audio systems and they send them to me in an email, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you have, and I put them on my channel. I want to see your home theater and all the stuff you have in there that makes your home theater what it is. So send that to me in an email and I'll put you on different episodes of Subscriber Showcase. If you haven't seen Subscriber Showcase before, I have created a playlist a long time ago. We are now on season 8, I believe, so we have 7 seasons we've done already. So if you need some ideas about what you should do in Subscriber Showcase, make sure you hit that playlist down below so you guys can get a good idea. Now, I want to kind of start this around middle of December or so. So if you have a little bit of stuff you need to get together, or you're upgrading, or whatever the case is, you do have a little bit of time. But go ahead and send me what you have because I want to organize it and get it all ready for December. I already have 3 submissions so far, and I expect that to pick up as the holiday season comes on. So if you want to be on Subscriber Showcase, here's my email down below, also in the description. So make sure you send some stuff over to me. So when we're finding peaks and nulls in our room, it can be very challenging, but the first step is to understand what peaks and nulls are. Peaks in your sound, peaks when things are too loud, when let's say you have a 60 hertz peak in your seating position, meaning all the other frequencies are relatively neutral, but you have a giant boost in volume. That's a peak. And you're gonna have it at a lot of different frequencies, maybe 35, and then 49, and then 86, and then 215 hertz, right? So you're gonna have different peaks in your system. Now, vice versa, the opposite of a peak is a null. And of course, being opposite, it means that you have a lack of volume in that particular frequency range. So maybe you have a peak at 60 hertz and then you have a null at 90. So 60 hertz is really, really loud and 90 hertz is almost non-existent. So that's what peaks and nulls are. It's just the change in volume during different frequency sweeps. And speaking of frequency sweeps, this is how you can start to find it. What I like to do, since I'm the only one who's mostly ever in here and I typically sit in one spot, I like to play a slow frequency sweep. I download an app on my phone called Frequency Generator, and I Bluetooth it to my AVM70, and I slowly go from 1 hertz up to about 500 or so, and I kind of write down when I hear a giant increase in bass and when I hear a steep drop off in bass. I write those numbers down. That's how I find my peaks and nulls in my spot. Now, if you have multiple seating positions, you can do this for multiple seats, but it's going to be hard to tackle different frequencies at different seats. So I just choose mainly my seating position, which is dead in the sweet spot. I go through the frequency sweep, and I listen 1, 2, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 hertz. Okay, there's a null here, there's a peak here, there's a very bad peak here. This isn't too bad, we'll leave that alone. So I jot down all the times that I hear these nulls and peaks, these hills and valleys, and then I go in and fix them. Now, the way you can fix them, a quick fix, is to run calibration. Calibration in your system is going to do its best to try to even out the bass. It's going to cut some things, not boost. What do I mean by that? So if you have a peak at 60, you don't want to boost everything around it to meet the volume at 60. You want to lower 60 to meet the volume of everything else. And the reason why we do that is because you can introduce some distortion in your system in the form of clipping if you boost too many frequencies or you boost them too high. So you don't want to boost anything. You want to cut almost everything so that everything is one solid volume. So after I've gone through and sat in my position and I've downloaded my app, I've listened to the frequency sweep, and I've identified my peaks and nulls at the frequencies that I've heard, and now it's time to treat those problems. And there's a few different ways you can treat them. Now, for me, I have a preprocessor that allows me to go into its interface and play with the peaks and nulls. I can play with the bass and the trim level and kind of fine tune it the way I like it. Bass management, all that stuff. But your receiver may not have a lot for you. Now, you may not know, but even down to the entry-level receivers, there are graphic equalizers. And what that is a graphic equalizer that allows you to boost or cut whatever frequency it allows you to do. Like for example, Yamaha's like 60 hertz up to maybe, I don't know, 20 kilohertz, something like that. I know that Odyssey has its own app. If you have SVS subwoofers, they have their own app, whatever you want, right? But you have a graphic equalizer in your receiver most likely. And if you get into that, you can actually cut and boost some frequencies of your own. Now remember, we don't want to boost too much. We want to cut more than we want to boost. But you can go in there and you can change some of your characteristics of your sound inside your receiver. Now, like I said, for mine, I can get really into the nitty gritty. But what if you don't have a graphic equalizer or even calibration? What do you do about the peaks and the nulls? Well, that's where acoustic treatment comes in. And this is the most slept on thing in home theater, hands down. You have all these nice speakers, you have all this nice equipment, you have all these nice amplifiers, and you have no room treatment. You're doing yourself a disservice and you're wasting your money. I have a lot of different acoustic treatment here that takes care of different frequencies. And that's the best way to take care of your room, is by treating it. So there are out there a lot of different types of acoustic treatment, panels, foam wedges, ceiling wedges, whatever you want to use to help treat some of your problem areas. So for me, I have some mid-range acoustic diffusers and absorbers that take care of my mid-bass. And then I have some foam wedges that take care of some of my high frequency echo in here. So it's pretty dead in here. I have carpet everywhere. I have a rug on top of carpet, and there's not much bare wall in here either. And that has dramatically enhanced the sound of my room. It's almost like upgrading speakers, amplifiers, and my receiver, all by just putting acoustic treatment on my wall. So if you have not done that, it is an absolute must to eliminate the room from your sound, or you'll probably never ever be satisfied with your system, no matter how much money you spend. Now, if you've done all this, you've downloaded the app, you listened to your frequency sweeps, you identified your peaks and nulls, you went out and got acoustic treatment, I personally run calibration all over again. After I've identified my problems and I've treated it with sound treatment, I'll run calibration again. And why do I do that? Well, the room is different now. Before, if you had no acoustic treatment in your room, it's a whole different type of sound. And your receiver or your preprocessor has tried to calibrate your room to the previous version of your room before you put acoustic treatment up. But now that you put acoustic treatment in place, I rerun my calibration because now it's not going to have to work as hard to give me the sound that I was after. It's going to be a lot easier and maybe even more accurate now because there's a lot less of the room tampering with the sound in your speakers. So if you went out and got acoustic treatment and you have not ran calibration again, go do that because the results are going to be very, very much different. You may see volume levels a lot lower, meaning that your amplifiers don't have to work as hard. You may see a tighter increase of bass in your subwoofers, meaning you may be able to turn them down a little bit. They don't have to work as hard. Things are a lot more smooth, more responsive, and more immersive at the end of the day. So if you have put acoustic treatment up and you said, all right, I'm done, you're not. Go back in there, run calibration, and you'll get even more of an increase on top of the work you've done with acoustic treatment. The last thing, and I saved this for last for a reason because it's one of the more harder things to do for the mass, is get a room EQ wizard. You need a microphone, a laptop, and it's a free software to download. The only thing you're going to pay for is the microphone of your choice. But if you download Room EQ Wizard, this will allow you to graphically see what's going on in your room right now. So if you're having trouble figuring out what peaks or nulls you need to fix by ear, you can have it drawn out by graph and you can visually see that, oh, this has a huge peak at the top. Oh my gosh, this has a huge null at the bottom, and now you know what you need to fix. So you can go out and get the correct acoustic treatment or whatever you may want to do to fix it. So if you don't have the best calibration software or you don't have money for acoustic treatment right now, you can download Room EQ Wizard, a free software, and grab a $70 microphone, plug it up right to your laptop, and it'll run its own test to listen what's going on into your room. And it'll tell you graphically what's going on so that you know what you need to treat when you're ready to treat it. So I saved that one for last because sometimes software like this can kind of get a little mind-boggling for people who are new to the hobby or new to calibration and don't know what's going on. If that's you, there are a billion videos on YouTube that will tell you what to do, myself included. Youthman does videos on this. Audioholics is obviously one that does it on stuff like that. And there are other YouTubers too who talk about things like this. Aaron's Audio Corner, stuff like that. So there's a lot of resources out there for you to be able to tackle this situation. So don't be afraid to try it because there are a lot of people out there that can help you. So that's my tips for fixing peaks and nulls and identifying them, but there are tons more methods out there. So if you have a method that you use or have heard of, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what that is. And if you have any questions, also let me know that down below. Hit that like button while you're down there and subscribe if you watch this whole video and you're not. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.
Say I lost my mind. I will keep on holding my head high, even if the sky is falling down.